From becoming the youngest champion in the history of the UFC to being regarded as the scariest fighter to have entered the octagon, Jon Jones has done it all. But that raises a certain question. What impact has Jones had on the sport? Now, Jon Jones has reigned as the king of MMA for a long while now.
Jon Jones, welcome back.
What's up, man? Thank you so much. How are you, Joe Rogan?
I'm good, sir. How you doing?
Oh, man. Alhamdulillah. God is so good.
He's widely regarded as the most talented fighter the sport has ever seen. He's also credited for helping transform the UFC scene into what it is today. However, the impact that he's had on the sport has been both good and bad. So I thought, what's better than taking a trip down memory lane, eh? Jones became the youngest champion in the history of the UFC by defeating Shogun and capturing the light heavyweight UFC belt. Since then, he hasn't lost a single fight in his career. There is one loss on his record, but most fans don't count that as it was a technical loss. See, Jones hit the wrong elbow at the wrong time and got disqualified from his fight. Even Dana White was sympathetic toward this and tried to get the decision overturned, though up until now nothing new has happened. With that being said, you were probably wondering how a young Jon Jones drew all the attention. Well, we can attribute that to his unparalleled skill in the octagon.
Hey, to break a record, to become a part of American history in this way, UFC history in this way, I wouldn't want it easy. I would not want it easy. If this stuff was easy.
See, Jon Jones has always been an unrivaled fighter within the octagon. The man barely takes a beating and always manages to leave the other guy in a pool of his blood. When Jon Bones Jones tells you he's going to beat you, you better believe it. See, as much as a lot of people like to hate Jones because of his criminal past, which we'll get into later, the fact is that Jones has managed to do something very few have. Of course, I'm talking about being able to go undefeated in the world of combat sports. If you're into combat sports, you know how hard of a feat that is to pull off. However, against all odds, Jones still managed to make a name for himself and keep on winning.
We knew that, so the idea was to get back to wrestling, getting that right in time. And then after you get that right in time, start looking for ground and pound and submissions, and everything worked out.
That's pretty admirable if you ask me. Unfortunately, his escapades in the octagon aren't the only reason he's so famous. He's done a few unsavory things outside of the ring, which has drawn the public eye quite a bit. In case you're confused, I'm talking about his domestic violence charges. Okay, so when you get to a certain level of fame, you just need to watch over your shoulder and make sure you don't do anything stupid. Because the fact is that if you get caught, it'll be all over every headline. It seems like Jon Jones didn't get the memo because he's been in quite a few headlines for domestic violence charges against his wife.
Yeah, Dominic did a tremendous job. Dominic, you have totally earned my respect, man. That was a great foot take. That was a great fight. I tell you what, I think.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty despicable act to carry out. Think about it. The whole point of martial arts is to teach you discipline. Even more than that, it teaches you self-control. Jones just woke up one morning and decided to yeet his principles out the nearest window. Sadly, that wasn't the only reason why he was in the news. He's also been caught using PEDs and drugs to enhance his performance in the octagon. If there ever was a surefire way to tarnish your legacy in this sport, Jon Jones sure has it covered. While we're still on the subject, we might as well dig a little deeper in this whole drug abuse story, and let me tell you, it doesn't get any easier. When it comes to getting caught using illegal substances,
unbelievable, and that's just going to be such a challenge in itself. So right now, I'm not going to call out anybody. I'm just going to go home.
Jon Jones doesn't make life easy for himself. The man has been caught on several occasions using substances to enhance his performance in the octagon. One of the biggest examples of this would be when he was busted for cocaine use during his fight against Daniel Cormier. See, they already had a lot of bad blood, so to hear about how Jones was coked out of his mind and still somehow managed to beat him must be soul-crushing for a legend like Cormier. Jones didn't just stop there either. He's had multiple run-ins with Johnny Law over PED usage, which is illegal according to USADA regulations. You'd think that after he got caught and penalized once, he'd wise up and stop making the same mistake again and again. Thankfully though, even though he's been missing from the octagon for a long time,
Prostitutes, I beat you after a weekend of cocaine.
And prostitutes. Hey, Wait, I thought that first time was the first time you did cocaine. So wait.
He's finally making his return to the UFC, and it looks like we're going to see a new Jon Jones. Hopefully this time he won't get drugged up before or after his fights. Still, it hasn't been all bad when it comes to the ex-champion. His style of fighting and raw talent completely changed the fight game. Jon Jones managed to turn the fighting world upside down with the amount of raw talent he possessed. The man didn't have an ounce of quit in him. The craziest part is the fact that he was able to keep on winning even though he never trained nearly as hard as his opponents. However, one thing's for sure, Jones has always been a true student of the game. The man has always been able to study his opponents before his fights and made sure to know exactly what to expect in the octagon. That way, even if he wasn't in the best physical condition, he's always been able to use his fight IQ to overpower and eventually defeat every single one of his opponents.
All right, I'm here with the champ. Uh-oh. Oh, he's got a broken foot. All right, have a seat. All right, champ. First of all,
of course, it'll be interesting to see whether he can still bring another champion run to the table once he's back. This time, he'll be facing off against Ciryl Gane in the heavyweight division. Up until now, Jones has always fought in the light heavyweight division, so this will be a nice new challenge for the man. With everything that's been said, there's just one question you have to ask yourself, which is, when you look at the bigger picture, is Jones a bust or an inspiration? Well, honestly, I'd say he's a little bit of both.
it's over, John.
It's over.
You came back.
It is over. Yeah, you know what, Joe? I want to take this time to thank Daniel Cormier for being my biggest rival and motivator. Daniel Cormier, guys.
The thing with Jones is that he manages to beat his opponents even if he hasn't trained for a particular fight. When you look at things from that perspective, you'll quickly realize how lethal Jones is. I mean, just imagine Jones if he trained in a consistent manner. At that point, there really wouldn't be anything stopping him from taking over the MMA world. Every time Jones has stepped into the ring, he's managed to wow the crowd with his technique and skill. It takes a special sort of commitment to be able to win like that every time you come out to fight. In my opinion, any fighter with over 20 wins is already a legend.
See what this shirt says? I Reebok. It says unbroken, baby. This team is unbroken. Let's go, baby. And still.
How happy were you that you were able to take him down, not just once, but several times in this fight?
It felt great. I tell you, man.
Another great thing about Jon Jones is the longevity of his career. See, there are fighters like Khabib who barely get hit, and that's why they can keep going for so long. However, there are also fighters like Jones who get hit pretty badly, but it just doesn't seem to faze them. Still, even with his godlike fighting ability, it's not the best role model for younger fighters.
You made it back.
I made it back, man. Man, such a beautiful moment. Man, I did a lot of right things to get back in this position.
The amount of domestic disputes and drug charges he's been caught on makes him a pretty irresponsible person. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want to use that side of Jones as an inspirational figure for up-and-coming fighters. I'd rather take a few things out of Bones' book to teach them and then disregard the rest. Still, that's just my opinion. And that, folks, was the impact that Jon Jones has had on the UFC scene. See you in the next video.